In every sports league, a generational talent inevitably rises, transforming the game and elevating everyone around them, much like a rising tide lifts a boat. In swimming, it was Michael Phelps. In boxing, it was Muhammad Ali. In baseball, Babe Ruth. For women's MMA, Ronda Rousey took the mantle, while Serena Williams dominated women's tennis. In the NBA's darkest days, when the league was struggling, it was Larry Bird and Magic Johnson who brought it back to life. Then came Michael Jordan, and just like that, the NBA transformed from a league on the verge of collapse in the 70s to a global powerhouse by the 90s. That's the impact of generational talents, what they can truly achieve. Now, as we all know, the WNBA has struggled for decades and is often seen as a league in disarray. Despite their efforts, nothing seemed to reverse the tide, as they continue to lose millions year after year after year.
We're asking for, a similar, not even the same shared revenue, but a similar percentage of revenue shared.
Then, almost as if their prayers were finally answered, Caitlin Clark has taken the basketball world by storm.
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark.
As a devoted NBA fan for nearly 2 decades, I can confidently say I've never seen anyone quite like her. The NBA was already a powerhouse when I became a superfan, so I never witnessed one individual reshaping an entire league the way Caitlin has done for the WNBA. Her impact is undeniable, yet the league seems to be mishandling a golden opportunity.
I'm going to record and say she's the best female collegiate player ever.
In basketball, there's a term called fumbling the bag. We've seen it happen before, when Nerlens Noel turned down a $70 million contract only to settle for $4 million, or when Dennis Schroeder rejected an $80 million deal and ended up with just $6 million. Now, it looks like the WNBA is making a similar mistake with Caitlin Clark.
Hey, LeBron, you're 100% right on these girls hating on Caitlin Clark. Y'all petty girls.
If they're not careful, they might just lose her to another league. And if that happens, the WNBA could slip right back into the irrelevance it has battled for years. Basketball history is filled with stories of players who felt undervalued and walked away. Scottie Pippen and the Chicago Bulls, Jimmy Butler and the Minnesota Timberwolves, Kyrie Irving and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and most recently, Klay Thompson and the Golden State Warriors. Now, Caitlin Clark finds herself in a similar situation. The WNBA's handling of her recognition has been nothing short of baffling. At the end of the 2024 regular season, the league's award winners were all but confirmed. MVP, Rookie of the Year, Sixth Woman, Defensive Player of the Year. The names were obvious, and all that remained was the official announcement. On September 22nd, Aya Wilson was named League MVP. Naturally, given Caitlin Clark's historic season, fans expected her Rookie of the Year announcement to follow shortly. But instead, the league delayed. 3 days later, on September 25th, they announced the Most Improved Player. Still, no Caitlin. No problem. Her recognition was surely next. But then, on September 27th, the WNBA released a list of records broken during the 2024 season, yet still no mention of Caitlin. By September 29th, a full week after the MVP announcement, fans grew impatient. Instead of Rookie of the Year, the league unveiled the Defensive Player of the Year. Later that same day, they named Cheryl Reeve Coach and Executive of the Year. At this point, the situation became ridiculous. Caitlin Clark had transformed the WNBA, drawing more attention to the league than any player before her. So why was her award being delayed? October 2nd arrived, and instead of recognizing Caitlin, the league announced the Kim Perro Sportsmanship Award. By now, fans were outraged. The WNBA's social media was flooded with comments questioning why they hadn't acknowledged Caitlin Clark's Rookie of the Year honor. Finally, on October 3rd, nearly 2 weeks after the MVP announcement, Caitlin Clark was officially named Rookie of the Year. But something felt off. Despite dominating every statistical category, leading her team to the playoffs, and even being in the MVP conversation, she was denied a unanimous selection. Angel Reese received a single vote, preventing Caitlin from securing a perfect win.
Should have been unanimous.
Should have been. I agree. It should have been unanimous.
Let's put this in perspective. Caitlin outperformed Angel in every major statistical category. Points per game, assists, steals, field goal percentage, three-point percentage, free throw percentage, effective field goal percentage, and even blocks. The only category Angel let in was rebounds, many of which came from grabbing her own misses. Despite this, the WNBA refused to give Caitlin the unanimous recognition she deserved. Fans were quick to call it out. Comments flooded in, questioning the integrity of that one vote. "Give me a break, this should be unanimous," one fan wrote. Another added, "On purpose, so she wouldn't win unanimously. Jealousy is a bitter perfume." Others bluntly pointed fingers, highlighting the WNBA's history of mismanagement. But this issue goes beyond just an award. The WNBA has consistently failed to protect Caitlin Clark from the on-court cheap shots, off-court verbal attacks, and passive-aggressive criticism. Instead of stepping in, they've allowed the negativity to fester. Given how she's been treated, it's not far-fetched to imagine Caitlin walking away from the WNBA altogether. Players like Gabby Williams have left for Europe. Others, like Liz Cambage and Diana Taurasi, have taken overseas stints for better opportunities. Unlike them, Caitlin wouldn't leave for money. She'd leave because of the unnecessary drama. The reality is clear. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark far more than Caitlin Clark needs the WNBA. Her playoff debut drew 1.8 million viewers for Game 1 and 2.5 million for Game 2. Numbers that surpass any WNBA Finals ratings in history. She is single-handedly raising the league's profile. Yet, instead of embracing this, the league keeps downplaying her impact.
Don't get it twisted. Don't get it. Caitlin Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA.
Comments like, "The WNBA is more than one player," and her exclusion from the Olympic team despite being an MVP candidate show how they're failing to capitalize on her presence. Even her so-called rival, Angel Reese, claimed, "The reason people watch women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too."
The reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
But let's be real. Caitlin Clark's deep threes, elite playmaking, and pure skill are why fans tune in. If Caitlin Clark ever decided to leave the WNBA, the league would deeply regret it. This would go down as one of the biggest fumbles in sports history. When you have a generational talent, you nurture and support them. You don't alienate them. But right now, instead of protecting their biggest star, the WNBA is letting her be targeted while acting like they've done nothing wrong. If they don't course correct soon, they might just watch their golden ticket walk right out the door.